Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Salma Kazi Wahab, and welcome to this program, Along the Path, where we take you exactly that way, along the path to finding Allah. Where do you connect with Him? How do you connect with Him? Where do you find your peace? What gives you that boost and that inspiration to find Him and strengthen your own iman and conviction? It is a beautiful new year, Muharram 1447, and it is a time to conquer all those challenges, all those obstacles we have faced in our years ahead, in our previous year, and let's see and look forward at our way forward. Inshallah, your goals, your aspirations, may you crush all of them in whichever way, inshallah. Joining me in studio today to tackle a much needed and highly spoken about topic is, of course, maintaining your fitness. But we're not here to talk about how many push-ups you need to do or how long to run on that treadmill. We're talking about, no matter how long you run on that treadmill, is it ultimately taking you to becoming a better Muslim and gaining closeness to Allah? Are you improving the quality of your life mentally and spiritually and those around you as well? How is it impacting you from inside as well as it is in those gains? How are you gaining in every other way? We welcome Kausar to the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Such a pleasure to have you here with us today. And of course, a topic that triggers many people when they see a trainer like yourself coming in. It almost is intimidating to an extent. But what I think is, it should be. Okay, but what it is, it forces you to confront a certain reality. But we're not only here to talk about that from an aspect of how much weight you necessarily need to lose or how fit you need to be or how many steps you've taken in the day. We're here to talk about how does fitness ultimately connect to your sense of spirituality, how it sort of reawakens something in you as well.
100%.
And it also is so evident in our own Islamic history. We're looking at references of Sahaba, we're looking at references of the Prophet ﷺ himself.
Every step of the way.
It's every step of the way. Do you see a connection between fitness and spirituality?
I think the reason I'm doing it is because of that. It's because I connect spiritually. Because it's brought me closer and closer in my journey. It has brought me closer and closer to my Creator. And that was the ultimate of what I actually wanted out of it. That's what I wanted out of my journey. And it's gotten me there. Because, to be honest, from where I was to now, Allah has never failed me in this journey. He has always shown me that no matter how far you want to take it, no matter where you want to go with it, it doesn't need to be you. And He's given me that. So I can't be more thankful and more grateful for it. And you'll see me posting, if ever I do, it will always be first, I say Alhamdulillah. And because it's being grateful.
I love that. And there's so many fitness trainers, there's fitness enthusiasts, there's different gyms that are coming up every day, people working with different people, struggling with weight loss or struggling with hormonal issues, so many different things. But like I said, our focus is not on that, but it's on your own individual experience. Besides it actually being a struggle to wake up in the morning for most people, why do you think it's so hard for people to channel their fitness or take that walk in the morning? Do you think it's a battle of nafs, or do you think it's a battle of just pure laziness? Are they not able to confront actually what they're struggling with in life?
To be honest, it's the very same as we wake up for Fajr.
There we go.
Right? We have our 5 daily salah. As Muslims, we know that it needs to be read at a certain time or around that certain time. You're making the time for your salah. You're making the time for your family. You're making the time for your parents and for your workspace. So just as important as you see your salah, just as important as you see your family, just as important as you see your home and your workplace, you as a person and as an individual should be as important to yourself. And it should come from that. That should be the reason why, of a 24-hour day, to take out 20 minutes for yourself is God-given. And if you can find that within yourself to do, you've won.
That's so profound to
You've
think that
won.
it's God given. And I love the comparison, because when you look at it nowadays, the way the world is struggling, people are struggling with depression. You look at the fighting that's happening in the world is in shambles at this point in time. But how many people are suffering with obesity? How many people are suffering? There's
It's
so
an
many
extra suffer.
there are so many people that are suffering, but because also, like you said, there's a mental disconnect. Fewer people are actually going out early in the mornings, and yet
100%.
Islam has already given
You that.
through fasting.
It's given you all the basis that
Yeah.
you need. It's given you everything. Our way of life is exactly what was meant to be. So wake up in the morning, smell that fresh air. Fajr does that for you. You don't need to set a clock, because you know you have to wake up
There you
anyway.
go.
You have to, everybody's not a morning person, but then you have the afternoon, Maghrib. You have to wake up and you have to read. Go find that 20 minutes where you can to do that. Our salah itself is making us move. It's telling you something. Why don't we get the idea?
Now, with somebody like yourself that's regularly doing certain exercises, or you're always in the gym, how do you find making your salah now easier? And I think that's a reality that we need to confront. We hear all the knuckles and the knees cracking in salah sometimes, people of old age, but even young people these days, and they struggle to get up after sujood. Is it just, it's a matter of fitness, right?
It is. Because I can tell you that you have, as a human, no matter what type of Muslim you are and how close to Allah you are, you have your day that I'm tired, I feel overworked. Women especially have been filling everybody else's cup the entire day. So it's bound to happen. But you find that if you are more physically fit, or if you are more physically able, let me not say fit, you don't need to be physically a superhuman to read salah, but if you are physically more able and you don't have that extra weight, or you don't have that, you're not putting pressure on your body, it is easier. It is made easier. You don't seem to struggle even when you are tired. Because I'll be honest, my day is physically active more than you would think. But alhamdulillah, my salah is actually my serenity. That's the time I get to calm. That's the time I get to reconnect and readjust and restart to get into the next hour or few hours of the day. And everybody should think of it that way.
If I were to ask you the specific movements in salah, how similar are they to the exercises that trainers are having to do now, today, or encouraging people to do? If you look at simple, the sujood, the ruku is so significant as well. Some of the movements, how do they connect with you?
For example, if I have to say our sujood itself is connecting our forehead to the floor. That alone is a sense of cortisol drop, where your stress levels are brought down. We know that stress among us in this day and age is beyond everybody. People are going through a tough time with health because of cortisol levels rising, because of unforeseen circumstance, because of, they don't even understand how is my cortisol level. You have 5 times a day, so many times in that 5 times that you can actually help yourself, like a cortisol pill to help you. That's an example.
Finding your center.
Finding the center. And if you just think of it that way, it really, really makes such a big difference. It really does.
Subhanallah. So what for you was one of those pinnacle points that you reached? Is it a salah, or is it maybe a time where you just do certain reading? Do you ever recite when you're taking a little jog, or is there something that you do that you just said, this shifts the energy for me?
To be honest, in the hard areas of my training, where I, like recently in March, I did, just before Ramadan started, I did something called high rocks. And when you are tested like that and your body is about to give up and not move an inch more and not take on anymore, you think that you can, but your legs and your body is giving up. And at that point you say, Ya Allah, let me just finish. And when you finish, and when you cry, and when you think about how did that happen, because your body was literally not going to make it. And you connect at that point, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel. That is all, Allah is enough. at any point in time. It makes me feel so emotional sometimes. But it really is, if you just, in any point of hardship, that you just say, Ya Allah, let me finish. Let me do this.
And you know what we could say is, you could say possibly some people would say, or maybe critics would say, but you don't need to do that. You don't need to push your body to that extent. But if you look at the wars that were fought, the battles that were fought, you look at the strength of the Sahaba and Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, you see so many like them that were strong, and they push themselves, and that's part of your requirements also as a Muslim, to strengthen yourself.
In today's generation and today's day and age, everything has become very comfortable. And if you have to go with the flow and become comfortable, you're going nowhere, slowly. And I believe that in order for us to regain our consciousness of not just as Muslim but as human, you are cutting yourself short from ever trying to push yourself to do anything, not just physical, but mentally, even in a job, in whatever you're doing. As a woman, we have daily things that we have to push ourselves to go through. But if you disabling yourself at 50% of not even teaching yourself how to push beyond what your body wants to do or what's comfortable, then how are you going to do anything by the time you're 60, 70, 80 years old, when everything becomes hard? Then your quality of life, you're not worried about then. You're worried about just now and what's comfortable for now. I want to be able to still do what I need and stand and read my salah at that point. That's going to be what I'm going to be thinking about there. I want to be able to
go into sajda.
Go into sajda.
Yeah.
Be with my family. Be that lively person. Be happy. Because your physical health gives you happiness because you're able to do so many things.
What beautiful thoughts there from Kausar Shaik joining us in studio. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, let's touch a little bit on our eating habits and our diet and how that also can directly impact our sense of spirituality. All that and more on the other side of this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to Along the Path with me, Salma Kazi Wahab. Joining me in studio today is Kausar Shaik, well-known fitness enthusiast, and all the credentials and medals wouldn't be enough to to do justice. We need much more time to talk about all your achievements. Sure. But alhamdulillah, before we get into what we wanted to talk about with the food and dietary requirements, I wanted to touch on one or two more personal things as well. Before I get into that, is one noticeable difference is when you start out in something like the fitness scene, you obviously doing it with a lot of you have to consider various things as a woman. First of all, you have to consider where you train, how you train, the times you train, but we're not again talking specifically about training. But how did that channel you now and your Muslim identity? How does it play that? What comes into your consciousness? What do you end up thinking of? Did you ever think of stories of the female Sahabiyat? Were you ever told about that? When we hear about the female warriors that used to fight back in the day as well, and you think about how strong they were. The Rasulullah himself used to raise his wife. They were fit. Also, the lengths to which they walk. You look at the Palestinian women today, the lengths they have to walk, how hard they have to work, the strength that it takes mentally, physically. But like you mentioned, along with being fit, it affects your state of mind.
Absolutely.
How you live your daily life, how early you wake up, whether you sleep in or where you choose to go, the fresh air. How did all of that now affect Kausar's frame of mind?
To be honest, I wasn't in full hijab for my whole fitness journey. And when I did decide to go into hijab, it was basically for me to get closer to Allah. And regardless of what we live in a day and age that's very judgmental and very, very...
they scrutinize everything.
The mindset of women especially is not always the way you would do things or the way you would think. Because I, to be honest, felt as if I was never ever targeted, but I had to have a thick skin. Because from this to that, all of a sudden, it became as if, oh, it's a Ramadan Muslim. Oh, it's just going to last for this long. She's not going to make it or whatever. But then only do you realize the level up that you have made in your journey to connect to Allah. Because it really didn't matter to me. I couldn't care less about whatever anybody saw, what they thought, or how they, because it literally had to be everything that changed. The way you dressed changed, the way you trained changed, the way you, but guess what? Because there's always options. That is why I say that even women that do not want to be in a public setting and they want to be in a female setting, there's an option. There's an option even for you to do it in your home without anything. There are options. When Sahaba went out on battles, and when women were there and that needed to partake in battles, they did not care about what was happening around them. It was what they were doing it for, who they were doing it for. And really speaking, I had to think about that. Am I doing this for people to care, or am I doing it for Allah? Who am I doing it for? And that alone made it so easy. It really made things so easy. And today, this is my identity.
I love
and
that.
I love it.
And you're focusing on yourself. I think that's the biggest takeaway and the biggest lesson is you go further ahead when you're looking forward.
100%.
If you're going to focus on the noise, you're going to get distracted. You're not going to reach your goals at all.
Absolutely.
So let's look at, besides the actual exercise part of it, you're always somebody that promoted what you intake into your body, of course, is very important. And this cannot be spoken about enough. We speak always about what you eat, tayyib food, halal food. But besides that, it's the quality of what you're putting into your body as well. We learn about, even again, we can connect it to Islam again, sitting and drinking water, how much of water, to drink it slowly, 3 sips. Does that directly connect to anything you'll learn as trainers as well?
That's how it's put to us. You cannot, for any reason, gulp water down because it causes air bubbles. Everything that we learn as Muslims, according to the modesty of how we do things, even through how we eat or how we portion ourselves or how we would prolong. You must remember that right now, everything that we do and how we do things is not according to how we were taught or how Sahaba did it. It's how Indian people do it or how Muslim homes do it. Eid has become something that is about food and is about the breakfast is like supper. Lunch is like supper. It's never ever a case of where things can be done simply anymore. The amount of effort that's put into Eid in the last 10 days of Ramadan takes away all, and women complain, I don't have any time. I don't know how to get this, and that. But those things were not even asked for you to do. And the pressure that's put on now the coming up, the daughter-in-laws and the daughters, for them to do the same thing, is then I think to myself that you really don't need to do that. Go and read your Quran if that's what you want to do. You don't need to have those 5,000 desserts on Eid day. It really doesn't matter.
True.
Because what's asked for you is very simple. If you think about it, yes, dress your best, smell your best, eat the best, but you don't need the amount that we see today on Eid day.
It's overwhelming and it's hard. It's putting everything, and then it's also, again, besides being unhealthy and putting your sugar levels at an extreme high, it's also just not necessary. And then it makes you lazy. It then goes on to impacting your weight, and then again your spirituality gets lost.
And when you don't do it as a family or as a person, and you don't do it that way, it's like, there's something wrong here, because I'm not somebody that will be
going with the norm,
50,000 things or going with the norm. It's because we don't need it. We really don't need it. Yeah, 1 or 2, no problem. That's okay. You're enjoying Eid. It's the day of Eid. You fasted the whole month.
Yeah.
Have good food. But the overwhelming of the amount that's been done, it's really not necessary. I don't see it to be necessary.
So does Kausar ever enjoy any dessert?
Oh, absolutely.
What desserts would you have? If you were to have?
I am, I'm such a sucker for ice cream. And I think it's because I've gone through a phase of hormonal change, and I have hormonal issues that it got me to becoming gluten-free since COVID. And that alone, but I'm not that gluten-free person that doesn't, I am that person that eats the cheesecake without the
that's the
base.
best part, the
Yeah,
bottom.
I know. But I'm saying just to give myself that
The satisfaction.
the satisfaction of it. I'm that person that will eat the cream of a cake and not the cake. I go through things like that, and that's just the truth. But it doesn't matter about what I'm doing at the time, but woman will be woman. We need certain things at a certain time, and you cannot stop yourself. You're human, and that's okay. I don't ever say sugar is bad for you, or carbs are bad for you, or anything's bad for you. Everything was put into the world because you need it. You have to have it. Moderation, yes.
And then again comes in the test of being able to control. There's an element of control. And again, it connects directly to a sense of spirituality.
Yes.
So you're looking, it is a new year, it is Muharram, it is a way forward for many Muslims. Around the world, they'll think of their New Year's goals. What do they want to achieve? Do they want to travel here? Do they want to get married? Whatever it may be. But if you're somebody that maybe struggled, like you said, with a table full of desserts, or maybe it's you just overeat, or maybe you just eat the wrong things, or maybe you eat too late. You have a lot of people that just enjoy late night binging past 10 or 11 o'clock at night. You have those certain struggles which directly impact you. You're going to eat a certain amount, you're going to oversleep, you're likely to then miss the fajr in the morning.
Yes.
So it's like a domino effect, right?
Domino effect.
So what would your advice be to people like that who need to look at a way forward? What can they change that's easy, simple, that will directly impact their state of well-being spiritually?
Don't go cold turkey.
Right.
When you have issues like that and you have to control them head on, and you know that it's a problem, and you know that it's something that you've been trying, and every time you tried, I'm not going to do it, this week goes, the first week goes, the second week goes, and then you can't take it anymore, your body's giving up, it's shutting down, and then you go all out and eat everything under the sun. That does happen because, like I said, the human body works with what it understands. So for all these years, if it understood a certain way of eating, it's not going to be easy for you to change it. But there is ways of doing it, and doing it slowly at your pace, and not how people put it out on social media. Don't eat this, don't eat that, this amount of carbs, this amount of protein. You have to have protein in your diet. Yes, all those things are correct, but you still have to find your way of doing it, which your body can sustain. And then you cut away from it. I'll give you an example. When I got married, my husband was someone that used to drink 3 to 4 sugars in his tea.
3 to 4?
Yeah.
Wow.
And he was someone that did not understand how not to have it, because if I had to take out anything less than even just 2 or 2.5 teaspoons of sugar in his cup of tea. Because you must remember, the tea didn't just come on its own and dry. It came with something. There's always something with tea.
The biscuits.
So, yeah. And I took it upon myself to start cutting it down. So I started cutting it down to 2.5. And it went on and on and on, and then a little less, because every time he needed a cup of tea, he'd ask me. And for more than, if he's making his 1 cup of tea a day, that's fine. But I'm making 3 of those cups of tea. So I'm in control of that. And that also tends to, if there's somebody around you that's consciously there for you, and you're doing it as a partnership, and you're doing it for each other's well-being, it makes things a lot easier. Because today, he can have half a teaspoon of sugar and he doesn't even know.
Wow. Look at that.
Down the line. And it's become a norm. It's become he's so used to it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Kausar, for being here today. I wish we could talk more about this. I think it's just, there's so much to touch on taking care of your health, your body as an amana, and at the same time, it just boosts your state of mind and your sense of spirituality as well. Thank you so much for sharing all that beautiful wisdom with us, and all the best to you, inshallah. Kausar Shaik joining us there on Along the Path. Remember, Along the Path is not only about how those fingers move and counting the dhikr, but it is also of cleansing that body of whatever is inside. To be able to read that zikr, you need to be able to stay awake, you need to be fit, you need to be able to sit in a certain position for a certain duration of time without your legs going numb. There's so many things to consider as a Muslim along the path to take care of all aspects of your life as well, inshallah. From me, Salma, until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.